So if there is a court order between the mother and the father, and the mother's refusing to follow that court order, what right does the father have to make sure that the mother follows that court order?
So here in North Carolina, what will happen is you can file what is called a motion for contempt. A person can be held in civil contempt or criminal or both. It depends on what you file in the motion. I tend to file both. So what civil contempt is you're asking for the person to pay your attorney fees. You're asking for any lost time to be made up, or for them to have to pay anything relating to the child. If a person is on child support and they don't pay, contempt. You can ask for criminal contempt. Some people ask for the person to be put in jail. I ask my client, what do you want? Do you want money, or do you want them to actually have the responsibility of knowing what they did was wrong and they have the potential of going to jail?
Man, you seem like you don't play.
I do not play at all.
All rise.
I just want to be able to see my daughter.
Like a real man to be.
So you're just living off of his child support.
We've gone over so many of these cases.
Order in the court.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Family Court Podcast. My guest today is Attorney Rabin from North Carolina. Mrs. Rabin brings a wealth of experience and expertise to her practice, specializing in family law, personal injury, wills, and estate, and business law. Her dedication to her clients is unmatched. She approaches each case with both tendency and compassion. A proud graduate of North Carolina Central School of Law, Ms. Rabin is a valued member of the North Carolina State Bar and is actively involved in organizations such as the Capital City Lawyers Association and the Durham and Wake County Bar Association. When she's not in the courtroom, Mrs. Rabin is a proud sister of the Alpha Kappa sorority and a passionate traveler who embraces new experiences and challenges. She embodies the spirit of empowerment and inclusivity, inspiring others to pursue their dreams fearlessly. Did I miss anything there?
No, you did. Oh,
That was good?
you forgot the alpha. But other than that, absolutely, that was perfect.
Okay. That's great. All right, so today's conversation, it's something that I personally, when I was going through my divorce, it's something that I've experienced. And I know a lot of fathers into my private group. So we have about 5,000 fathers in my private group. And I would say about half of them experience this, which is co-parenting. And to be more specific, good co-parenting relationship after a divorce or a breakup. And I was meaning to have this conversation for a very long time so fathers can understand, for one, in their rights and how they can approach these things because what I see now is a lot of fathers, when they get frustrated, they will act out of anger and sometimes out of frustration, and they'll end up being in jail or end up, their right to their children being reduced based on their behavior towards the mother. You know what I mean? So this conversation, for anybody that's watching, anybody that's listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, if you are dealing with a mother that is not allowing you to see your children on the regular and there is a court order between you two, this is a conversation for you. And if you are the father who's keeping the kids from the mother simply because you and the mother are not getting along, this is also a conversation for you. So I wanted to start with this question, Ms. Rabin, if I may. What is a good co-parenting relationship according to family law?
Well, according to family law, what I consider a good co-parenting relationship would be communication between the two parents. So anytime the child is sick or has to go to the hospital, or the minor child has extracurricular activities, making sure the other parent is aware of what's going on with the child. You'll find a lot of times where a mother or a father is not letting the other parent know what's going on with the child's life. It is nothing wrong with sending an update saying, okay, the child is sick today. I had to take our child to the hospital or the doctor, and this is what's going on. Because both parents should be involved with the child's life.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So what if the mother is the tiebreaker in the decision-making process? Does she still have to inform the father of what's going on in the child's life?
It depends on the court order.
Okay.
So in regards to court orders, you can have one where the mother or the father has final decision making, but they still have to communicate what's going on. So you can ask in the order, if you make a decision, please inform me. So that is an option when you go to trial, and you can ask the judge, okay, well, even if she has decision-making ability, can I still know if our child has to go to the hospital or having surgery? That's very important.
Right. See, I asked that question because I had a mother on my podcast a few weeks ago, and she said this, and I had to correct her. She say since she is the decision maker, basically the tiebreaker, if the father and her are not able to agree on whatever activity that's going on in the child's
Why do you
life,
feel that way?
that's the question. Yeah, that's the question. So she felt, she have the ultimate right to be able to make the decision without consulting the father, because at the end of the day, she's gonna be the tiebreaker. You know what I mean? Like she's gonna be the one that makes the final decision. You know what I mean?
Had that in court, and the judge was absolutely not pleased with the mother saying that, because why wouldn't you inform the father of what's going on? What
Right.
made you the tiebreaker?
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So if there is a court order between the mother and the father, and the mother's refusing to follow that court order, what right does the father have to make sure that the mother follows that court order?
So here in North Carolina, what will happen is you can file what is called a motion for contempt. A person can be held in civil contempt or criminal or both. It depends on what you file in the motion. I tend to file both. So what
Okay.
civil contempt is you're asking for the person to pay your attorney fees. You're asking for any lost time to be made up, or for them to have to pay anything relating to the child. Like, say, for example, if a person is on child support and they don't pay, contempt. You can ask for criminal contempt. Some people ask for the person to be put in jail. I ask my client, what do you want? Do you want money, or do you want them to actually have the responsibility of knowing what they did was wrong, and they have the potential of going to jail?
Man, you seem like you don't play.
I do not play at all.
She said,
So you don't. Okay, so what if the father is not paying child support, but it's not willful, like he's not doing it on purpose? What are the consequences of that?
My apologies. Here, I would go ahead and ask for a modification of child support. So if you know that you can't pay it and you're going to fall behind, you need to hire an attorney and file for a modification of child support and give the reason why. Like, it's a recession. People lose jobs. Businesses don't make as much money as they used to. You have to sell to court. Don't go without paying and don't say anything. That's a mistake that a lot of fathers make. Well, I can't afford it. I'm going to get caught up later. They will come after you for child support.
So do you think there's a certain amount that you have to get to before you file for modification, or you can file it? Let's say you got a divorce today. Can you file for modification tomorrow, or is there a time period that you have to wait before you file for one?
So it depends on the circumstances. Sometimes they will do a review every 3 years. But say, for example, you have a job and you lost it the next 6 months, then you need to file within that 6 months. Like, as soon as you lose the job, I would file for modification. Because they do a review every 3 years. But say you lost your job, and some people's child support is like $1,400. Can't afford it anymore. You need to let the court know, and you need to file as soon as possible.
Okay.
Okay. So what if the mother filed for contempt, and the father was preparing to file for a modification, but the mother somehow beat him to it? So how do you, I guess, how do you prepare yourself to present, to stand before the judge, to explain to the judge, this is what I was going to do, but the mom beat me to it?
So you froze. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're breaking up a little bit, but you
Did
still.
you hear my question,
Would
or
you
would you
like
like
me
me
to
to repeat it?
So I heard the question. It's like it's freezing.
Okay.
But okay. So what I would do is go ahead and file the motion, and then you're gonna need to hire an attorney and go in and talk to the judge about the contempt motion. And so what will happen in the state of North Carolina, you're actually able to pay a certain amount towards, it's called arrears, so back child support,
Right.
instead of going to jail. But if you do not address it and you just show up and don't have any reason or excuse, they could put you in jail. That is an option.
Wow.
So when they put you in jail, I know I'm sticking on this a lot because I get a lot of child support questions.
I mean, it's a main concern.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm trying to make sure that we get all of it answered, before I can move to the next question, if that's okay. So if uh, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, so if it's not willful, you know what I mean? Like you lost your job, that's out of your control. You go before the judge, and again, the mom filed for contempt before you file for modification, and the judge is now asking you, so why didn't you make any type of payment? And you telling the judge, I lost my job. Can a judge still put you in jail after that, or how would that work?
So they have the discretion to do whatever they want to do. But I've had it where the judge will be understanding and ask for you to just pay your back child support. So
Okay.
you would be held in what is called civil contempt, which means that you need to pay money, not criminal contempt.
Right.
If you come and you're properly served and you go into court and you show the documents, they are reasonable. I've had it that way.
Okay.
Now, I have some people that say, oh, I had surgery, don't have any proof of the surgery, medical bills, anything. They don't take well to that. I will say that. But if you're honest and you have a letter from the job to say you were laid off, they're going to look at that evidence.
Okay.
So what if you come into the court, you got a big cut? I don't have a doctor, no, but you showing the judge this big old cut in my arm. Would that work or no?
I'll be honestly, I would think that doesn't work, but if it impedes on your ability to work, you tell the judge that and go from there.
Right. And I think that actually goes back to how important it is for you to keep all the documents. Anything that's happening to your life, if you can document it, it's good for you and it's good for your case.
Absolutely, right? And your income.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So and this is another question that's something that I dealt with, and a lot of fathers deal with this. So the mother and sometimes the father, they are not following the court order. Can you call the police or the sheriff to have them enforce the court order?
So the short answer to that is no. A custody order is a civil order, so it has to go through the court where you file the motion for contempt. Remember, I talked about the civil and criminal contempt. Right. So you have to go through it that way. However, if there is what is called a domestic violence protective order and you are granted temporary custody, the judge can ask for the child to be returned as soon as possible. And you can take the paper and go get your child, or an order that asks for the child to be returned. Yes. But it has specifically say that it cannot just be a custody order at all.
Right.
Wow. So the police and the sheriff, there's not much that they can really do for you.
You have to go through the courts and the motion.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what if it takes 6 months before you can see the judge after you file for contempt? So for that 6 months, you have no contact with your child.
Yes, but the other person is going to get in trouble.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's basically all you're hoping for. Just that person will get in trouble when we are, finally before a judge.
Correct. And then what happens is when you file a motion for contempt, it helps with modifying the custody order. So say, for example, a father just has every other weekend visitation, but the mother keeps violating the order. You have a stronger argument for joint or primary custody. That's how it goes. That is the importance of motion for contempt. A lot of men I've seen in my expertise in my area will say, oh, it's okay, I'll see the baby next time. You can't say that because then they can't be held in contempt. You have to say, it's my time and I want to see our child.
Right.
So when you do this through text messages, emails, or how do you vocalize that?
Everything needs to be in writing, whether that's an email or a text message, I can use it. And depending on your state, you can record the person as well.
Okay.
Because here in Georgia is one party recording state, so you can
you can record. Okay. Everything needs to be. So you have to think about it as it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. So you have to be able to prove it, and that's what I tell my clients.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So this next one, and this is and we see this a lot. And again, I'm not saying in every state, but here in Georgia, we see this a lot where primarily the mother don't want to follow the court order. You get a contempt case, you stand before a judge, and the judge doesn't hold them accountable or doesn't make them, or doesn't give you makeup time for all the time that your visitation that you have missed with your children. So in North Carolina, I want to be more specific on this. So in North Carolina, do judges hold mothers accountable for refusing? And I'll throw some fathers out there because there are fathers that do the same thing too. So do judges hold them accountable to the point of putting them in jail for refusing to follow the court order?
They do. Absolutely, here they do.
Yeah.
Have you seen in your practice?
You have to ask for criminal and civil, not just civil. So if you put criminal contempt, they will hold them in criminal contempt if they have violated the order.
Wow.
So you have to, when you're filing for contempt, you have to put that on the paper that I want them be held for criminal contempt as well.
Civil and criminal.
Civil and criminal. That sounds a little harsh, though.
I mean, it depends. There's some fathers that haven't seen their children for years. So
right. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And people violate the orders all the time because they just want to do what they want to do.
Right.
Yeah, that is true. So without some type of jail or some type of, I guess, monetary punishment, it's just a piece of paper, really.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, this is my last question, and I'll give it a platform if you wanna throw anything extra. Um, so what do you do if the other parent is using the children to try to hurt or control you, in the sense that they know that, okay, we have a court order after a breakup or a divorce. They don't want you to see the child before, they will ask for something, and before they can let you see the children, you have to perform some type of, you know, some type of labor that they want you to do, and then they will let you see the children. You know what I mean? Like, it's that. How do you bring that to a judge? Let me put it that way. I don't know if you understand the question that I'm trying to ask.
I do understand the question, and it would
Okay.
be the same answer. Your
Okay.
motions for contempt, criminal and civil, and to modify custody. Because if every time you're trying to see your child, there are stipulations, that's not what's in the order. So you
Mm-hmm.
can't make up what you want in order
Mm-hmm.
for a person to spend time with their child.
Right. Right.
And you make sure you document it. So send them an email, text message, or recording. I have to do this before I see our child. The person says yes. Then you make sure you take that to the judge. They are not going to take kindly to that.
Okay.
So, when you had an attorney, can you ask for your attorney fees be reimbursed if the mother or the father somehow they are the reason why you have to keep going back and back to court?
Absolutely. I ask for them every time.
Okay.
And how often does it get granted?
For the contempts, majority all the time.
Okay.
So, but you have to have a solid ground to ask for attorney fees, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, if you're filing the motion for contempt, that means that somebody has done something wrong. So you
Right.
should have
Right.
solid ground.
Okay.
Okay, Attorney Robbins, thank you so much. Thank you so much. These are all the questions that I have. So for someone that's looking to hire you in North Carolina, what are your informations? Do you have a website, Instagram, Facebook, that they can go look you up at?
Absolutely. So my website is www.lawofficesofrbj.com. Also, I am on Instagram, TikTok is Robin the Lawyer, and the law offices of RBJ.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure. Say that one more time.
So my website is www.lawofficesofrbj.com. Also, I can be found on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, Law Offices of RBJ.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll make sure that I include the links on the screen as well, and also in the description for anybody that's watching, listening. So if they are in North Carolina looking for a great attorney, I'm sure you guys have seen how fierce she is.
Well, I'm going to definitely email you all the information. It has been a pleasure speaking.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Any last word before we log off?
I just want to say to all the fathers and the mothers, stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid of court. It is okay. Document everything, including interactions with the other parent, any type of payments you paid towards the child's well-being, because people will go in court and not tell the truth. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Remember that, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great night, okay? Yes, ma'am.